What are you most looking forward to about being married? Hey, too much time.
When did you know you were going to marry Casey? When I finally kind of knew was when we were locked in a car together for an entire trip to San Francisco. Everyone told me it was going to be terrible, and it was actually really wonderful.
Think back to your first date. What was the best part of that?
That day, I found out I didn't get a job that I thought I was definitely going to get, and I ended up meeting my wife that day, so it was a good swap.
What was the worst part?
I found out that I didn't get a job I was going to get.
The best part of the first date, probably the flatbread. It was good.
What is your favorite breakfast food?
Croissants.
Liar, croissants.
What's y'all's favorite moment with us together?
I would say probably Ginny and Steven's wedding
Yeah, that was a lot
in
of fun.
Chattanooga.
I would say that, or my recent favorite was when we went bowling.
Elisa randomly went up and asked this at least probably 35-year-old man holding probably like a newborn baby at about 11 o'clock at night. She went up and asked him about why he had a baby at the bowling alley. He also had a beer in the other hand too.
How many kids do you want to have?
2.
2. Will you allow them to use Casey's nickname Tron in the wedding ceremony?
I kind of know him as both people now. He's kind of like he'll transform into Tron at times. I feel like it's only appropriate for him to be called both.
Quality you are most attracted to in your partner?
Funny.
Smart. How do you think Casey's changed since he started dating Elisa? Since Casey started dating Elisa, he is nicer, dresses better.
Much better.
She's 10 times better than you are.
She's funnier than Tron.
I've actually noticed you've become very patient, a lot more patient, especially with like timelines of things.
Plans ahead more.
Yes, he does.
How has she made me better?
In every way imaginable.
You wake up before 10 a.m.
I mean, we're just getting started. How long does this video last?
How do you think I make our relationship better?
I would say Elisa likes the humor and the spontaneity.
I think you're spontaneous.
When I'm with you guys, you just play off each other with your humor and with like, you kid with each other.
Challenge Alyssa in ways she hasn't been challenged before.
How do you explain what Alyssa does for a living?
You can't.
He is a project manager.
So you're like, hey, she's a doctor. They're like, but that's not quite true. But she's not a nurse practitioner. And so it's always this weird thing about like, hey, I know what a nurse practitioner is. But you're like, well, it's a little more than that. Well, what do you mean it's a little more than that? I don't know what a physician's assistant is.
Which means he manages projects.
Well, they just help her out in surgery? No, they don't just help her out in surgery. She does all kinds of stuff in the office. So it's kind of ridiculous because all the time you're seeing her acting out all these different things and no one ever knows how to explain what it is. So I'm just like, well, she's a doctor, but it's not really a doctor, so it's just my problem.
What does the other do when you're not together?
Sports. Watch sports. Video games. Sports. Video games, sports.
What was the moment where you were like, I think they're probably gonna get married?
You and I used to talk about it all the time, and like you go from here to here and you need to get here, and then just overnight it seems like you just take a giant leap forward. And when I saw that change in you for like the better, I just knew that, you know, she made you better in every way possible.
Y'all are very much so, like when I'm with you guys, I'll think like, yeah, like that's, like they're perfect for each other.
Well, when I met her and I was like, she's like way like better looking than you are, I was like, he's gonna lock this down.
Did you ever Facebook stalk Casey? Yes!
Yeah, one time I it was like early on in our relationship, and I went through to see what the competition was.
What is your least favorite thing about your engagement?
Probably that my parents couldn't be there. So that's probably my least favorite thing with the engagement.
What are you most looking forward to about the wedding?
There's just gonna be a lot of people I don't get to have all in the same room at one point that I'm really excited to have in the same room.
How many things has Casey decided about the wedding?
I'll tell you that when he's decided something about the wedding.
Hey, Elisa.
Hey, Casey.
What are you doing September 19th?
What are you doing September 19th?
I should ask you what you were doing September 19th. Thanks for watching our video of some of our friends
saying funny and heartfelt and mostly negative things about me. So if you want to hear more of those horrible things about me, maybe you should come somewhere September 19th, like Nashville.
Gonna get married.
To each other, even.
There's a reception to follow.
That will be fun because there will be us
Food.
there. Well, also food. And we might even have valet service. Not to brag or anything, but you might want to see what it's like to have your car parked for you.
For free, by the way.
Well, you should probably tip them something.
Yeah.
So yeah, come to those things because it'll be fun.
Please.